So the first question is, what advice would you give someone who's considering building a barndominium? And I'll let you guys take the floor if somebody's approaching you guys for that advice.
Just off the top of my head, what's coming to mind is I would just let them know that you're living in a barndominium, so it's not a stick frame home up front, at least with our product, right? So our product is a steel building. I'd let them know that this is a steel building, so just kind of understand what you're getting. I'd make sure I put it in front of them, make sure you see all this because it's industrial style. In a lot of cases, there are cases where you can enclose everything, but I just let them know this is a barndominium. It's meant to last a long time and be maintenance free. But just the scale some expectations. Yeah.
And I think too, there's this misnomer out there on the different Facebook groups that's building a barndominium is cheaper, and we all know that's not necessarily the case. So they come to us looking for that cheaper price, that cheaper solution. Total cost of construction being less than a traditional house, and they really need to be ready to expect to pay similar prices to what they would for a stick built house.
Yep. Yeah. If I could ever figure out the guy that came up with the 50% off and coined that in the community, I would strangle him to death on a Facebook Live.
For sure.
But, there are ways to save costs if you're building it yourself. However, even if you're playing your own GC, you're not going to save a tremendous amount of money. Now, here's the way that I articulate that. Apples to apples, it is more cost effective. Apples to oranges, it is not. And what I mean by that is if you were to take even your system, right? If they do a full steel assembly, it's going to be more expensive than even some of the ways we build. But if that's what you're going for, there's a reason for it. So then you can't compare apples and oranges. You have to compare apples to apples. So if you were to build a conventional home and you were to do it out of all, steel or metal studs or any of that, right? And you were to put metal siding and a metal roof, and you were to put the wall cavity thickness the same, and you were to insulate it to the same degree, and you were to do all those features and gizmos and gadgets and have the clear span and you would spend astronomically more money conventionally building that home. So apples to apples, yes, they're more affordable. Apples to oranges, they are not. And so if they start off the conversation with 50% less, I'm like, hey, I don't even know if that's true if it comes on wheels. But there are places you can go toward those homes. This does not provide that opportunity because it's just built to last. And you hit the nail on the head with the maintenance side, right? Like it's designed to be a very maintenance free at least from the exterior standpoint. Everything on the inside of that home is exactly the same as a conventional home, right? But the outside, you're building for ease of use and that long-term durability of a steel home. So the next one is, what are some challenges that you see in the field for people that are trying to build a barndominium, and then what are some things that you guys do to help them overcome those challenges?
I think you touched on it on the last portion of this as well, but that's just knowing that if you're trying to save money building a barndominium and you're going to act as your own GC, you definitely need to know up front that it's going to be time consuming and you're going to be a lot more hands-on in the entire process, from finding all your contractors, your drywall, your HVAC, your electrical, your plumber, everything from start to finish, maybe minus the building and getting the building put up and the concrete folks.
Right.
So
finding those subcontractors, if you're doing your own GC work, that's been a nightmare for a lot of our customers, because as they're going out and trying to find these subcontractors and hiring them, they're just a small fish to these subcontractors, and so they may end up having another job that they're working with a general that they worked with for a long time, and the subs just run off and have to take care of that stuff before taking care of the client. So there's I think when you do your own GC, there's a tendency to see a lot more delays than what you would see probably if you're hiring a general directly.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in to the Barndo Show podcast. If you're watching on YouTube or wherever you're listening to this content, hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And then be sure to check us out on all of our social media platforms at the Barndo Co. Super simple to find us. And then when you're ready to dive in a little more, maybe look around some of our available floor plan options, or take a look at the gallery of our work, or maybe you're ready to connect with our team and explore what it looks like to build your dream barndominium, you can visit us online at thebarndoco.com.